Hi there, welcome back to Miss Johnson's Read Aloud Time. We're going to continue on with our story, The One and Only Ivan. So right now we have a new character that just arrived. This is Ruby the little elephant, and Stella is not really happy about Ruby arriving. So we're going to kind of see why and what happens after that. Here we go, this is part 5. Stella helps. The men are still yelling. Some of the yelling is at each other, but most of it is at Ruby. We hear scrambling, pounding, shifting. The side of the trunk shudders. I'm starting to like this elephant, Bob whispers. I'm getting the big one, Max says. Maybe she can coax the stupid brat out of the trunk. Mac opens Stella's door. Come on, girl, she urges. He unties the rope attached to the floor bolt. Stella pushes past Mac, nearly knocking him over. She rushes as best she can, limping heavily toward the open back door of the trunk. She catches her swollen foot at the edge of the ramp and winces. Blood trickles down. Halfway up the ramp, she pauses. The noise of the trunk stops. Ruby falls silent. Slowly, Stella makes her way up the rest of the ramp. It groans under her weight, and I can tell how much she is hurting by the awkward way she moves. At the top of the incline, she stops. She pokes her trunk into the emptiness. We wait. The tiny gray trunk appears again. Shyly, it reaches out, tasting the air. Stella curls her own trunk around the baby's. They make soft, rumbling sounds. We wait some more. A hush falls over the entire Big Top Mall. Thud, thud, step, step, pause, step, step, pause. And there she is, so small she can fit underneath Stella with some room to spare. Her skin sags and she sways unsteadily as she makes her way down the ramp. Not the greatest specimen, Max says, but I got her cheap for the bankrupt circus out west. They had shipped her off from Alaska. Only had her a month before they went bust. He gestures towards Ruby. Thing is, people love babies. Baby elephants, baby gorillas, heck, give me a baby alligator and I can make a killing. Stella ushers Ruby toward her domain. Mac and the two men follow. At Stella's door, Ruby hesitates. Mac gives Ruby a shove, but she doesn't budge. Doggone it, get a clue, Ruby, he mutters, but Ruby isn't moving, and neither is Stella. Mac grabs a broom. He raises it. Instantly, Stella steps in front of Ruby to shield her. Get in the cage, both of you, Mac shouts. Stella stares at Mac, considering. Gently but firmly, she uses her trunk. She nudges Ruby into the domain. Only then does Stella enter. Mac slams the door shut with a clang. I see two trunks intertwined. I hear Stella whispering. Poor kid, Bob says. Welcome to Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan. Old news. When Julia comes, she sits by Stella's domain and watches the new baby. She barely talks to me. Stella doesn't talk to me either. She's still too busy nuzzling Ruby. She's cute, little Ruby, with her ears flapping like palm leaves, but I'm handsome and strong. Bob trots in a circle around my belly before settling down on the right spot. Give it up, Ivan, he says. You're old news. Julia gets a piece of paper and pencil. I can see that she's drawing Ruby. I move to the corner of my domain to pout. Bob grumbles. He doesn't like it when I disrupt his naps. Homework, Julia's father scolds. Julia sighs and puts her drawing aside. I grunt and Julia glances in my direction. Poor old Ivan, she says. I've been ignoring you, haven't I? I grunt again, a dignified, indifferent grunt. Julia thinks for a moment, then she smiles. She walks over to my domain, to the spot in the corner where the glass is broken. She slides a paper through. She rolls a pencil across my cement floor. You can draw the baby elephant too, Julia says. I bite the pencil in half with my magnificent teeth. Then I eat the paper. Tricks. Even after Julia and her father leave, I try to keep sulking, but it's no use. Gorillas are not, by nature, powders. Stella, I call. It's a full moon, do you see? Sometimes when we are lucky, we catch a glimpse of the moon through the skylight in the food court. I did, Stella says. She's whispering, and I realize that Ruby must be asleep. Is Ruby all right? I ask. She's too thin, Ivan, Stella says. Poor baby. She was in that truck for days. Mac brought her from the circus the same way he brought me, but she hadn't been there long. She was born in the wild, like us. Will she be okay? I ask. Stella doesn't answer my question. The circus chained her to the floor. The circus trainers chained her to the floor, Ivan. All 4 feet, 23 hours a day. I puzzle over why this would be a good idea. I always try to give humans the benefit of the doubt. Why would they do that? I finally ask. to break her spirit, Stella says, so she could learn to balance on a pedestal, so she could stand on her hind legs, so a dog could jump on her back while she walked in mindless circles. I hear her tired voice and think of all the tricks Stella had learned. Introductions. When I wake the next morning, I see a little trunk poking out the bars of Stella's domain. Hello, said a small, clear voice. I'm Ruby. She waves her trunk. Hello, I say. I'm Ivan. Are you a monkey? Ruby asks. Certainly not. Bob's ears perk up, although his eyes stay closed. He's a gorilla, he says, and I'm a dog of uncertain heritage. Why did the dog climb your tummy? Ruby asks. Because it's there, Bob mutters. Is Stella awake? I ask. Aunt Stella's asleep, Ruby says. Her foot is hurting, I think. Ruby turns her head. Her eyes are on Stella's back, and long lash bottoms, like black with long lashed bottomless lakes, fringe the tall grass. When is breakfast? She asks. Soon, I said. The mall opens and the workers come. Where? Ruby twists her head to the other direction. Where are all the other elephants? It's just you and Stella, I say. For some reason, I feel like I have to let her down. Are there more of you? Not, I said, at the moment. Ruby picks up a piece of hay and considers it. Do you have a mom and a dad? Well, I used to. Everyone has parents, Bob explains. It's unavoidable. But the circus, I used to live with my mom and my aunts and my sisters and my cousins, Ruby said. She drops the hay, picks it up, twirls it. They're dead. I don't know what to say. I'm not really enjoying this conversation, but I can see that Ruby isn't done talking. To be polite, I say, I'm sorry to hear that, Ruby. Humans killed them, she said. Who else? Bob asks, and we fall silent. Stella and Ruby. All morning, Stella strokes Ruby, pats her, smells her. They flap their ears, they rumble and roar, and they sway as if they're dancing. Ruby clings to Stella's tail. She slips under Stella's belly. Sometimes they just lean into each other, their trunks twirled together like jungle vines. Stella looks happy. It's more fun to watch than any nature show I've seen on TV. Home of the one and only Ivan. George and Mac are out by the highway. I can see them through one of my windows. They're next to each other on tall wooden ladders, leaning against the billboard that tells the cars to stop at the exit and visit the one and only Ivan, mighty silverback. George has a bucket and a long-handled broom. Mac has pieces of paper. He slaps them against the billboard. George dips the broom in the bucket. He wets the paper with the liquid from the bucket, and somehow the paper stays in place. They put up many pieces before they are done. When they climb down from the ladders, I see that they've added a picture of a little elephant on the billboard. The elephant has a lopsided grin. She's wearing a red hat. Her tail curls like a pig's. She doesn't look like Ruby. She doesn't even look like an elephant. I've only known Ruby one day, and I could have drawn her better. Art lesson. Ruby asks a lot of questions. She says, Ivan, why is your tummy so big? And have you ever seen a green giraffe? And can you get me one of those pink clouds that the humans are eating? When Ruby asks, what is that on your wall? I explain that it's a jungle. She says the flowers have no scent, and the waterfall has no water, and trees have no roots. I am aware of that, I say. It's art, a picture made with paint. Do you know how to make art? Ruby asks. Yes, I do, I say, and I puff up my chest a little. I've always been an artist. I love drawing. Why do you love it? Ruby asks. I pause. I've never really talked to anyone about this before. When I'm drawing a picture, I feel quiet inside. Ruby frowns. Quiet is boring. Not always. Ruby scratches the back of her neck with her trunk. What do you draw anyway? Bananas, mostly, things in my domain. My drawings sell at the gift shop for $25 a piece with a frame. What's a frame? Ruby asks. What's $1? What's a gift store? Close my eyes. I'm a little sleepy, Ruby. Have you ever driven a truck? Ruby asks. I don't answer. Ivan, Ruby says, can Bob fly? A memory flashes past me, surprising me. I think of my father snoring peacefully under the sun while I try every trick I know to wake him. Perhaps I realize he wasn't really such a good sleeper after all. Treat. How's that foot, girl? George asks Stella. Stella pokes her trunk between the bars. She inspects George's right shirt pocket for a treat he brings her every night without fail. George doesn't always bring me treats. Stella's his favorite, but I don't mind. She's my favorite too. Stella sees that George's pocket is empty. She gives George a frustrated nudge with her trunk, and Julia giggles. Stella moves to George's left pocket and discovers a carrot. Nimbly, she removes it. Mac walks up. Toilet's bugged up in the men's bathroom, he said. Big mess. I'll take care of it. George sighs. Mac turns to leave. Before you go, Mac, George says, you might want to take a look at Stella's foot. I think it's infected again. Darn thing never does heal up right. Mac rubs his eyes. I'll keep an eye on it. Money's tight, though. Can't be calling a vet every time she sneezes. George strokes Stella's trunk. She inspects his pockets one more time, just in case. Sorry, girl, George said. He watches Mac walk away. And that's part 5 of The One and Only Ivan. So let me know what you think about Ruby. I think she's a really curious young little elephant. Seems kind of fun. Ivan's not too taken with her, but maybe he'll kind of get used to her. I'm a little worried about Stella and her foot. So let me know if you like this chapter or if you like this part. I know I did. I think it's getting really interesting. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.